Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the Tuesday edition. How are we doing today? Sorry, getting everything set up so I can read your comments. I wish I could do that ahead of time. I just can't. But everybody, you do what you do and you just keep on going. So, man, there's a lot of things changing in life, and yesterday was no different. And so today I thought, with all the changes going on, that it would make sense for me to talk about change in business. And change is something that is inevitable. And as we go through this article that I found, which I love, if you don't have time to listen today, it's not going to be super long, probably 10 minutes. Come back and watch this one because this is something that can apply to every part of your life. And I'm going to just jump right into it because I know a lot of us have stuff going on. It's 10 o'clock. I'm really late and I apologize. But this is 10 tips for dealing with change and positively Let's had to do that earlier today. Now I'm ready. 10 tips for dealing with change positively in your workplace. Ban Weston, marketing director of WM Consulting, wrote this February 23, 2015. It's a LinkedIn article, and boom, going to be in your comment section right about now. And Chad, I do this every day, twice in a day. I go straight from 9 University straight over to this feed and do the same thing typically. A lot more about my business, a lot more about me personally, and a lot less about Amazon. But we're going to go through the same thing so I can get some stuff done today. The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is the unknown. H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft wrote those words in the 1920s, and they are still relevant today, especially in the workplace. Many of us look forward to changes at work and often have conversations with our colleagues about how things would be different. Yet, when things do change, we're often terrified and feel uncomfortable. Change is inevitable and necessary these days in order for future business and organizations to not only survive, but to thrive. Sometimes change can be imposed on us, and when and embrace the changes ahead. Why do we fear change and resist it so much? We fear change at work for a variety of reasons, but most of these fears are associated with the fear of failure, fear of success, fear of rejection, fear of criticism, and the fear of the unknown. The growing research in neuroscience is proving that the belief that we are creatures of habit to be very true. We like certainty. Certainty brings with it clarity and predictability. Therefore, change may often activate a threat in the circuitry of our brains. This can trigger powerful effects on our body and our emotions, which we turn to as stress. David Rock, author of the Handbook of Neuro Leadership, explains that uncertainty registers as an error or a gap or tension in our brain, something that must be corrected before one can feel comfortable again. That's why people crave certainty. Not knowing what will happen next can be profoundly debilitating because it requires extra neural energy. This can diminish memory, undermine performance, and disengage people from the present. Tamar Chansky, author of Freeing Yourself from Anxiety, says changes at work are among top life stressors that one can experience. How we thrive is through routine and predictability, and gives us a sense of control. When there are big changes, we are suddenly thrown into a state of uncertainty. Reorganizations, changes in management, changes in job responsibilities all set off alarm bells, and they may signal that one's job is at stake. New management sets off a lot of different anxieties. Will I like my boss? Will my boss like me? Will I be valued from what I do? Will I have a say in these new decisions? Do I have to start from square one, proving my worth, or will I be respected? However, change does not always have to culminate in fear and anxiety. How well organizations handle the process of change, transition, and how much we perceive we have control and influence over the change, the key to managing the fear of change. Therefore, it's perfectly normal to feel fear and be unsettled with change. It's a normal human reaction when we don't totally feel in control and certain about the future. The unhealthy part occurs when inappropriate, unhelpful responses such as fighting change, presenting a negative attitude, or ignoring its meaning. Intelligent, mature, and driven employees will change their fear and look for avenues to adjust to change and thrive in its new environment. So we're going to go through these 10 things real quick. Hopefully I'm not talking too fast for you, but I'm trying to respect everyone's time. While this is, like I said, this is really, I really, especially with what's going on in my business, in our lives, it's good to recognize these things. It's good to embrace them. So, so here we go. Number one, acknowledge the change. The most important thing to do when change is happening in the workplace is to acknowledge it. Recognizing and accepting change is one of the first steps towards managing it. Number two, face your fears. Write down these fears in objective form. This can stop you from dwelling on them. Go through each fear. Write down what you would do if that fear came to pass. And then you have a plan you can really help diffuse emotional anxiety. Number three, confront your feelings and seek support. Face your feelings about fear and the transitions you're going through, especially when the change is imposed and beyond your control. This could mean that you have to cope with the loss of a team and a project that you really care about. You don't have to act as the victim. Even when you're not in control, the best thing you can do is accept your feelings and then reach out to colleagues, partners, loved ones. Talk to them about how you're feeling. Number four, stop the fearful thoughts and replace them with something positive. Fear can come from creating negative thoughts and scenarios in your head and what the future holds. How you describe the change to yourself and what you see yourself in negative aspects of change. What impact does it have on your life the moment you become fearful and have negative thoughts? Stop them in your tracks and turn them to something positive. Ask yourself these questions. In the past, when I handled change really well, what did I do? How did I handle it? What actions did I take that really worked for me? How did I deal with the changes in my communication with others? And how did I manage my mental health? What personal attributes did I use to turn these things into positives? Was I patient, rational, etc.? Now, I think it's very important for us to realize that God, in creating us, gave us one of the most powerful tools in the world, and it's our brain. And we have no control over it unless you decide to have control over it. He gives us that power, the power to tell yourself, like literally you can tell your mind, stop thinking about this, let's make this a positive. And you can start thinking positive things and change your way of thinking. Be flexible, embrace change. Instead of hiding from your fear and creating a barrier, be open and flexible to new challenges and tasks. Chansky recommends that you approach change with an open attitude of learning. Even if you don't like something new in the system, if you're flexible, people will want to work with you, and there's a greater chance of change. If you're raging against the machine, so to speak, no one's going to rush to have your back. Be part of the change. Adopt an attitude of anticipation and excitement. See change as an opportunity. Get involved in new committees and work teams. Be an influencer, driver of change. That way you feel empowered and feel less fearful. See the positive in the way forward. Communication, and then when you're done communicate some more. Communication is always important, and especially when you face change. Part of the fear of change is the unknown. If the organization is not communicating change effectively, make it your business to be proactive. Find out more about what the change involves. Don't just sit back. Talk to your boss, your boss's boss, your coworkers. Get an understanding. Don't make these sessions negative. Ask constructive questions to find meaningful information. This will help you understand better. Be aware that sometimes when talking to coworkers, the news will be distorted and not always factual. Number 8, reduce stress and anxiety. In times of stress, we may feel tired, and this is the time when we need to focus on being strong, fit, healthy, and resilient. To be resilient, you need to calm down and be in control of what you're able to make good, clear, rational decisions. So focus on exercise, nutrition, breathe deeply, and smile. This doesn't have to be extensive. Just 20, 30 minutes of meditation or yoga or walking to clear your head, which should do the trick. Have a sense of meaning. Take time to stop to take stock of how valuable you are to the organization. Acknowledging your successes and the skills and attributes that you offer the organization, this is perhaps the time to manage yourself more valuable. Research tells us the valuable employees typically get through changes unscathed and even better than before. Now, number 10 and the final one is continue to do your work and see the big picture. It's easy during times of reorganization to sit back and see what will happen tomorrow. It's easy to have that attitude in case someone else's work you're doing might change. However, remember that till you have a new direction, you need to focus on achieving your designated goals and tasks that have that great positive attitude that will impress your future boss. The bottom line is change is inevitable for all organizations today, so you'll need to overcome your fear of it. Change can be frightening and disruptive. However, the right attitude, outlook, and actions, you can find opportunities in change. Now, I want to close in the fact that I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I'm not ashamed of it. I love it. I've been that way since Derek Thomas when I was growing up. It wasn't just because we shared a name. It's because he dominated, and I think he could have taken Lawrence Taylor's position as one of the best players to ever play defense in NFL history. In my personal opinion, we can debate about it later. However, we won last year's Super Bowl, and we're right where I want us to be for this year going into the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. Without the change that Philadelphia decided to make, because they kept getting to the playoffs every year and they just couldn't get over the hump, they decided to let Andy Reid go. We snapped him up right away, and now we have a championship that we hadn't had in 50 years. Getting let go, getting fired sucks, but don't be fearful. Turn it into a positive. You may have the next Patrick Mahomes on your team and you don't even realize it. God loves you, so do I. Have a great week. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning, and let's have a great Tuesday.